I'm your host, Denise. What it do? I hope everybody enjoyed their holiday, took some time off of themselves, but most importantly, linked up with their family. I think that's so vital and important right now, especially for a lot of people, including myself, with a lot of losses for the month of November. So I just want to make sure that I touch on that first before we get started. Hey, it's Friday. We here. We made it. Um, I definitely enjoyed the holiday, spending time with my kids, my grandbaby, hey, family. Like I'm big on that. Okay, so tonight's topic is what makes you a good woman or man. So now I'm interested. I want to hear what people got to say. Like, I think it's a lot of factors that make up what somebody would say as they perfect person, even though it's not a such thing as anybody being perfect or a perfect match. Okay. Um, Let me just start the conversation off with that because I think sometimes we get caught up in all the little expectations or um, so-called qualities that we want in a significant other that sometimes creates this fairy tale fictitious fantasy world of a person. um, I can say that because I think when I was younger, that's exactly what kind of mindset I had. It's like, oh, okay, if only I could just have all of this in one part. I quickly realized that I was setting I was setting too unrealistic requirements for myself at such a young age. I think that kind of like helped me with this fantasy world that I was just speaking on. A lot of people, and I know I'm not the only one, have definitely done the same, with um, wanting certain things in a person. And if they lack it, that's some people got deal breakers. I for sure hope you got standards, for yourself first, but most importantly, the person that you end up with. Because sometimes we end up connecting with who we believe is the one, and we figure out later on down the line, like, yo, it wasn't what we thought it was. You feel me? Like, or maybe things ain't work out. So let's just start with what makes you a good woman or man, because that's tonight's topic. I can only speak from a woman's perspective. We'll see who end up chiming in the conversation as we, move along. But for me, I feel like what makes me a good woman is me being having a big heart for one. Me choosing to work on the things that I know need to be worked on with or without a partner. Okay. So again, it, I think I'm a strong believer. This is how you attract what it is you really want. And when I say that, say that very loosely because for some reason we have been tricked into believing that all of these things, these expectations, these qualities that we've created in our head about who our person is supposed to be, the one, um, you simply have to become that first. I'm learning that. I don't care what it is you tell yourself. I don't care what it is somebody tell you. You're going to attract who you are. You're not going to attract this make believe fantasy person you done created in your head. No, you're going to attract exactly who you are. And so I think that's the most important thing. Step one is figuring out who you are. I think that should happen before you even think about another person, a relationship, a long-term commitment or connection. You got to figure out who you are first. Because how is it that we so good at analyzing everybody else but ourselves? Okay. Um, I consider myself a realist. I ain't about to sit here and pretend like I'm not in on some of the stuff that go on, because I definitely am. Sometimes good and sometimes bad. It just depends what the situation is. I take pride in it being more of the good than the bad. Not to say I don't have no experiences or some stories to tell, because I do. But that's neither here nor there. Those was lessons, experiences. Okay. Um, After you figure out who you are and start working on you, all the things that you told yourself about who this other person, the one, is supposed to have and be and uh, 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 obtain and have all these accolades and fancy cars and all this old crazy stuff that we say we feed ourselves. I think that that's not reality at all. It's not reality. I think that that is the first step to disappointment and let down when it comes to relationships and connections. When you got all of these expectations of this other person and you don't possess any of them, I think that's a red flag for any person, man or woman. I think that's a red flag. Uh, After you figure out who you is, you start becoming who it is you want to attract. You can't just say, yeah, I want a man that graduated and got a degree and he live in a nice house and he doing this and he doing that. And you ain't did none of the above. You ain't did nothing. See, you got to figure out how to become who you want to attract so y'all can balance each other out. It ain't gonna happen no other way. I'm telling you, we sit here and we fool ourselves. We believe some of the things that we tell ourselves. Just because we believe it and we tell it to ourselves don't make it fact, man. It does not make it right. It don't make it fact. It don't. Um, okay, so now you working on yourself. You developing yourself and transforming yourself into who it is you want to attract. Maybe you take that promotion or that job you've been seeing a whole lot about. So you can elevate and advance yourself where you working. Or maybe you take a chance on yourself, start a business. Whatever it is, you're gonna have to start making steps towards becoming what it is you want to attract in the person that's the one for you. This is what I learned. So in all the relationships, marriage too, I can say now, looking back, like, oh well, I know exactly where I went wrong. Mm-hmm. Having all these demands and expectations of somebody. Not to say that I didn't have some of the things that I wanted him to have. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I wasn't actively pursuing that. That wasn't like my focus. It wasn't. I was too busy trying to make sure that I was living up to what I thought a wife should be, or a woman or girlfriend should be. That's always been my mindset, without realizing that that's not determined by my significant other or or my partner. That's determined by me. That's determined by me. Who is best for me? Who is good for me? What it is that I want. And I think that another thing is learning your love language for yourself, because you can't expect who it is you trying to attract or become in a relationship with to know what your love language is if you don't know it. So this is why I'm saying, like, you're going to have to start working on yourself. You're going to have to start figuring out what you like and don't like, because these are all qualities that you must possess first. It's got to happen inside of you first before you gonna be having to say, well, he better do this and he better move like, or she better have this and she better have that. No, you gonna have to go have those things first, and not and it not be connected to another person, but because it's what you want. It's who you want to become. That's super important, man. Okay, so now you finding yourself. You figuring out what you like and don't like. Now you learning your love language. I think that the next step after that is gonna be to become the example. If you expecting a man to, okay, say your love language, for example, is gifts. Okay, you like gifts. You like for your significant other or your partner to shower you with gifts. That's what make you feel good. Okay, and you gonna have to start being the example of that. So maybe it require you to start gifting a little bit. But I will say, do not get too wrapped up into that. That's just to give a little hint, perhaps. And if they actually study you and paying attention, then they'll pick up on that. But don't get too caught up in loving people the way you want to love them. This is the biggest thing that I think a lot of us suffer from. We want to love people how we want to love them. No, you have to learn their love language just like they got to learn yours. You can't be mad because you try your love language is gifting and presents and all this old stuff, and you keep doing that for them and getting mad when they don't receive it. No, because that's not the way they want to be loved. You got to study them too. You got to figure out what their love language is and start walking in that. Start doing that. Maybe perhaps be spontaneous or something. Do something for your spouse or your partner or significant other that nobody had to say nothing. Maybe y'all conversated about it before, but you just did it. And I'm not here to speak on no man. I'm not. I'm only here speaking from a woman's perspective. Okay, we talking about what makes you a good woman or man. I feel like the next thing that's gonna make you a good woman or man is when you start creating a solid foundation for yourself. And I don't want to like to use the word routine, but yeah, it was what worked for you. Okay, that's got to be stable. You got to have some stability first, because what's the first thing that a woman be screaming? Oh, he got to make me feel stable. No, sweetheart. You got to make yourself feel stable first. And maybe that's moving into a different environment, because maybe where you at ain't where you want to be. So you starting to make steps so you can elevate. Put yourself in a position to live a little bit better. But give yourself some this. Do you see where I'm going with this? I'm talking about all the things that it is I want in a significant other or the one. And I'm talking about how I'm putting in the work to become that. I can't say, oh, I want my man to make me feel safe when I or secure, or he got to be stable, and I'm not none of those things. Perhaps I might come off as a basket case because I ain't stable at all. I'm in survival mode, perhaps. That's not gonna work, because the energy that come with those things, it's gonna come out your pores. It's gonna be like a light from your body, from the energy. And believe it or not, the opposite sex, same sex, doesn't matter. People, humans, period. They can feel that. They can pick up on it. I feel like once you start figuring that out, getting your energy together, start working on yourself, start elevating, make yourself some goals or something. Start working on your communication. But before you even start putting yourself out there to date or anything, start working on your communication. Because I promise that's been a game changer for me, because I had to learn how to communicate. I didn't know how. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I didn't know how. It was always a physical thing with me, an aggressive thing with me. I didn't know how to articulate what I was trying to say with my words. I had to learn that. But people see me today and they'll swear I always knew how to do this. No, I did not. And I'm still a work in progress. I still got certain things I got to work on. The first thing that I tackled was my tone. Because I started realizing why they ain't listen to me. Why I don't want to hear what I got to say. And it was my tone. Sometimes it's your tone that'll deter you from something good for you. Even within yourself. Sometimes it's your tone, it's your delivery. Sometimes it be you. Let's just talk about it. Sometimes it be you. It don't be other people. It be you. And this ain't an attack on nobody. This is just to bring awareness, because I had to have it be brought to me. Because I obviously was not aware. And it came from my son. My son had to tell me. He said, well, shoot, if you don't want me to respond in that way, then you stop approaching me like that. And I was like, I was proud of him for speaking up and speaking his mind, but it was the first time somebody had ever said it to me. So again, I was unaware. I didn't know. That I was coming off as aggressive. I didn't know that I was over the top. I didn't know. I didn't know that sometimes it was my delivery. I meant well, because I ain't never just intentionally been malicious to nobody, and especially not nobody I care about. But it took for him to tell me that. My son had to tell me. He was like, man, you start off all the way up here. How am I supposed to? I can't do nothing but reciprocate your energy. You up here. So my response gonna be up here. And then I started analyzing myself. Because sometimes some of our characteristic traits, they not healthy. They not healthy. And just because we do it or it is considered the norm to us, don't make it right. We talking about attracting the person that's for us. How is somebody that's unhealthy, toxic, and dysfunctional good for us? But as you can see, I started this conversation. I'm talking about becoming who it is you want to attract. So again, if this is some of your characteristic traits and this is how you moving about out here, that's exactly what you're going to attract. Somebody that's dysfunctional, somebody that's toxic, somebody that don't know how to communicate, somebody that's unhealthy. Because that's what you are. And sometimes we don't want to hear that about ourselves. We don't want to be told the truth. Because we haven't accepted it yet. But those are some of the first steps to you getting what it is that you know you deserve. Cause I ain't gonna lie to you, I ain't fixing to settle. I ain't got it in me. I ain't fixing to settle. Have I in the past? Absolutely. I think everybody have to a certain extent. Everybody have. Because that's how you learn what's for you and what's not. What's real and what's fake. What's intentional and what ain't. Oh, I love you too, cuz. Tonight we talking about what makes you a good man or woman. You care to chime in on the conversation? I just think being the best version of yourself is how you gonna attract what it is that you want. It's just my beliefs, what I've seen, what I've experienced. You got to become the best version of yourself. Cause you ain't gonna want no person that's excuse my French, half ass with you. You gonna want them to be all the way in. So that means you gonna have to be all the way in with yourself first. You ain't better cut no corners. You ain't gonna better half ass do nothing and expect to attract positive, healthy, non-toxic, non-dysfunctional connections and relationships. It's just not going to happen. It's just not. Another thing that I think women we have to do, we got to stop telling ourselves that we don't need no man. And oh yes, I'm a woman, you heard it here. We got to stop doing that. Because if this life was meant for us to live alone, then that's what it would have been. That's just what it would have been. But that's not the way it is for real. I understand it's hard. It's hard dating right now. It's hard dating because I feel like so many of us is avoiding the work that needs to be done with self and expecting to be rewarded with a good man or a good woman, and that's just not how this go, man. And if you do and you recognize it and they choose to work with you and deal with you despite the things that they know you lacking in, you favored, and you better hold on tight. I'm telling you. Because people like that is hard to come by nowadays. A lot of people are just out here trying to figure out what they can get from you. And the physical and not the physical. They just trying to figure out what they can get from you. They don't care about nothing else. Self. You gotta be careful. You absolutely gotta protect your peace, and you're gonna have to stand on your standards and your boundaries. Ooh, you must have boundaries. You must have boundaries, because what I have seen with successful relationships around me is that they have boundaries. When I start having conversations with people about their relationships and marriage, they had boundaries. They had boundaries. They wasn't about to just let this person get over on them. They wasn't about to just make it easy for them. They had boundaries. Somebody that's good for you is going to have boundaries themselves, but they're going to respect yours. They're going to respect yours because they're going to be like, you know what? I got a couple boundaries myself. So I can't even feel no type of way about them having no boundaries because I got some too. And everybody should. Everybody should have some boundaries, man. When you don't have no boundaries, when you lack them, oh man, you an opportunist. I mean, you an opportunist dream. You hear me? You are an opportunist dream. Because they like, oh shoot. And I just got told this just in a casual conversation with one of my friends' followers. And we was just talking about when we first met or whatever, and he was like, man, I came in like, yeah, she cold, she beautiful. He like, and then I start talking to you. He like, and then I started listening to the stuff that you was saying. He was like, and then I was like, man. He was like, she got a brain, she got substance. He was like, you ain't about to just pull up and pull one off on you. And I said, no, let me show name. You sure ain't. And that just came from me going through so much, me accepting a lot of things that I knew wasn't good for me. So now I got boundaries. The people that usually don't like it is the ones who don't have boundaries and never gonna respect yours. So that would be an immediate red flag for me. Somebody that don't really care about themselves could not ever care about you. This is what I learned. We as women, we nurturers. We want to fix. We want to take care of stuff. So then we may come across a man and he may be down and out at the time. Maybe he going through some stuff in his life. He had a setback perhaps or something. I'm not saying that don't make him your man, because some of us is we well rounded on rising phoenix from the ashes, okay? But what I'm saying is sometimes we interfere. We be trying to fix something that don't got nothing to do with us. Perhaps this might be their karma for them not doing taking care of business in their life. We'll mess around and intercede or try to interject in that, and then be wondering why stuff be going on with us. Sometimes the connection that be woo, it be past toxic. It be costly. So this is why you got to start having certain boundaries, standards, and start working on yourself first. That's exactly why. Um, Another thing is we too quick to be announcing stuff as women. And again, I can only speak for a woman. I ain't never done it. I don't think it's as long as I ever been on social media. I may have posted pictures of me and somebody, but I ain't never like changed where it say married or in a relationship with so and so and tagged them and all. I ain't no, ain't never happened because I'm not that thirsty for nobody know what's going on with me. You got to be willing to protect your relationship. Let me just say that. Let me make sure I say that. You better be just like you protect yourself and have boundaries and stuff for yourself. You when you get with somebody, you gonna have to be ready to protect that relationship, that connection, because a lot of times you you don't know, but I feel like somebody is some was always somebody else's ex, if that make any sense. Okay, so that includes you. You somebody's ex, somebody else is somebody's ex. I mean, it happens. But the reason I'm saying protect that connection and that relationship because people be out here doing some crazy stuff, man. They be out here moving. Wow, they gotta let somebody know that they know him or her. Yeah, I know her. We used to. No, that ain't your place. That's not your place to be trying to tell nobody about what you had going on with somebody else because y'all not together no more. This is your ex now, and I believe an ex is an ex for a reason. They was supposed to teach you some things, and that's it. It's like I got this hear this term a lot. Spin the block. Spin the block. Spin the block. You know what I figured out is when you do decide to spin the block or let them spin the block, what you quickly realize is that the reason for you trying to sever or disconnect from the connection to begin with is going to be the very reason why you get upset about the whole connection renewing itself. Uh-oh, what happened? Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. Hi, Mom.
Hello.
Okay, you gotta mute your TV because it's gonna mute your TV because it's gonna echo. Okay, so tonight we talking about what makes you a good man or woman. Like what are the qualifications? So far I've named you being willing to transform into what it is that you want to attract. Instead of you expecting to be who you are and attract this person with all these expectations and qualifications that you don't even have. I think is the first step. The second step is you setting boundaries, because a person that's good for you will have boundaries themselves, hopefully, and standards. So, which means if you possess those things, then that's an attraction. You know, you're not gonna attract who you want. You're gonna attract who you are. That's what I'm saying. And so we watching a lot of relationships be hot, cold, and then over with real fast because a lot of them have not studied their partner, perhaps. Sometimes we try to love people the way we want to be loved instead of studying them and figuring out what their love language is. Because everybody have one. Whether it be affection or gifts or, everybody got a love language. You can't love somebody the way you want to be loved. You have to love them the way they want to be loved.
Well, I think that would be vice versa.
Yeah. But this is why you transforming into what it.
You don't always get that match.
Right. But that's why.
But like I always said, first impressions are lasting impressions. Because they may put that stuff out there in the beginning and end up that's not what they really are.
Mm-hmm. That's the facade, the mask.
Yes, and a lot of people live by that.
Well, hey, times is definitely changing. It's definitely not what it once was with dating and significant others and love. But I still believe in that. A lot of people have given up on that.
Well, I feel like this now is just not even attempt to find a match. I've lived so long by myself that I don't feel like I need a partner. Not a partner for a lifelong partner.
Okay.
I got set in my ways, and I'm sure I can't attract somebody that's going to be okay with that.
Yeah, well, I think that's something to be said about your entire generation, though. As far as being set in your ways, but because again, y'all been here a lot longer than us, so y'all have experienced maybe some things that now we recognize and paying attention to and aware of. That is like, I seen that before. You know what I'm saying? Perhaps I seen that in a relationship. I don't want that. But again, hey, but again, are you familiar with the term "you are what you eat"?
Yeah.
It is the same way with attracting.
You are what you attract.
Yeah. So again, I use this analogy a lot so that I stay focused on what's important versus what I want things to be. How do I want to say it so I make sure I don't say it wrong? For instance, you got somebody you connected to and you watch them be negative, perhaps swindle, thieving, just a horrible person to be connected to. and you somehow convinced yourself that that person will never do that to you. You follow what I'm saying? It's the same thing with who you are. If you negative and you lack communication skills and you don't know how to see life through anybody else's lenses but your own, you got all of this stuff going on with you. How you gonna tell somebody that you want a man that's got all of those things and you don't have none of them? No, you gonna attract the person who toxic, dysfunctional, lack communication skills, because that's who you are. Now you're not gonna attract who you want. You're gonna attract who you are. We can stop fooling ourselves with that. This is why we struggling so bad. Because we've convinced ourselves or somehow been convinced that that's not how it go, and that's exactly how it go. I can't get mad about the person that I attracted if I know that's who I am. If I know, for example, I'm a player and I'm gonna be upset about me attracting one, for what? That's who I am. I don't expect you to take me serious because I'm not about to take you serious. Are you okay with that? Like, I think that we start setting all these expectations for people, and then perhaps they don't possess it, or maybe they do. And then we start trying to critique them. We start trying to like change them as women. No. Yeah, you just can't. And that's what I'm learning right now. You just cannot change nobody. You got to give yourself a well-rounded view of who that person is. And then you got to start doing inventory. Am I okay with that? Can I handle that? Can I see myself dealing with this? And then you make a decision. And whatever decision you make, you be comfortable with that. Whether it be to continue the connection or sever it. But we can't have it both ways. If we want good, we gotta be that. We have to become that. That's what I believe makes a good woman or man. You can't just be talking about, well, I'm just a good man, I'm a good woman. It sounds good. We know that.
Make it sound good.
Huh?
They'll make it sound good.
Again. But this is where a lot of these practices that you would have gained by starting to work on yourself to become who it is you want to attract. And one of those things going to be discernment. Because you're going to need that. That's like a tool. You need that in your tool belt. You need that. Because that's how you're going to figure out what's what. A lot of us is lacking that so bad. And then we wonder why we can't tell the difference. I ain't out here asking God for no cars and this and that. No, I'm asking for the stuff that's going to help me be able to keep what's not for me away from me. I can't fight off none of the stuff that I can't see in the physical with no car, clothes, person, none of that. But see, we get too caught up in stuff. Maybe, I want him to be making X amount of dollars a year and this and that. No, I want this man to be God-fearing, or at least know it's a God. How about that? Because, bro, what's going to happen when we get to a situation within our relationship that requires you to be a man of God and you ain't that? Well, how you supposed to protect me and our household? By the time we be the sorry. I hit the little desk. By the time we figure it out, we already with them. I talked about this in another episode about by the time we figure out who somebody is, we done already made kids with them.
True.
Now it's a anger thing. It's a back and forth thing. It's a oh, I can't stand them, and all I got to say about them is something negative. But shoot, in the end, we beat and picked them. We beat and picked them. And as women, these men get away with what we allow them to, and vice versa. Because I feel like that's a stereotype that's been here forever and ever, that women let men get away with what they wanted them to get away with. And when we stop letting them get away with it, then that's be the end of it. But we never talk about.
Then they want to start accusing you of stuff, you know?
Well, again, I believe that
you caught on to what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I believe that a lot of the guilt tripping and gaslighting and narcissistic behavior be so they don't have to be found out.
They don't have to settle. They don't have to settle.
So they won't be found out. Yeah, if I'm making you focus on yourself and not me and what I'm doing. But see, that wouldn't be considered a good man or a good woman, because narcissistic behavior happens. And well, the narcissistic behavior is at an all-time high right now. I don't know what's going on, but the hurt is deep with some of these people out here. I ain't lying, man. It's like, listen, you gotta go heal yourself. You gotta go heal yourself and work on yourself, because you know, a lot of people will never attract what it is they know that they deserve as far as a healthy connection or relationship with people, because they refuse to get healthy themselves. And I'm not just talking about working out. I'm just talking about working on yourself. Like, it's still going to keep coming back to self. Yeah, we was born a single life and we going to die a single death. But what did you do in between to better yourself? Like, you only gonna date on your level, if that make any sense. So we can stop having a caviar taste on the food stamp budget. Okay. A lot of people that might went over your head, but I'm saying a lot of us got some expensive taste, but the substance of ourselves is low quality, low vibrational, and then we got the nerve to be asking for all this expensive stuff. It's crazy. I think another step to being a good woman or man is to being truthful, being honest. If that person ain't your cup of tea, why is you still letting them linger around? Why are you still lingering around? Because both of y'all withholding who is for y'all by being with somebody who ain't for you. It makes no sense. Yet you have people out here who will hold on to somebody because they don't want nobody else to have them. They know they can't offer them what it is they know they deserve, but I just don't want to see you with nobody else. That's narcissism at its finest right there. I don't have no desire to become who it is I know you want me to be or that I should be for you, but I ain't trying to let you go either. Now you stuck in a relationship that's not good for you, it's unhealthy, and this person don't even respect or love you enough to let you go. Because I had to learn the hard way. Sometimes you got to love somebody enough to let them go. And that may be one of the most loving things you did was decide that you wasn't gonna hang on. That you knew that they deserved more than that. You deserved more than that. I think that the ultimate thing to being a good man or a good woman is loving yourself. We want so desperately to be loved by everybody else, but we don't love on ourselves. I had my therapist ask me one day, she said, when you start feeling overwhelmed, what do you do? And I start telling her, like, I do these breathing techniques that she taught me. And she was like, well, when you be feeling like you need a hug or something, do you try to give yourself one? And I was like, no. And she was like, why not? And I was like, I don't know. And she was like, could you imagine if you started doing that? Instead of waiting on somebody to show up and do it for you or give it to you. If you started just giving it to yourself. And I was like, wow. I'm still a work in progress. I hope that the rest of the world is too, because you're not going to never stop growing or learning. At least you shouldn't. But those are just a few things that I think, make a good woman or man. I think another thing is that makes a good woman is having integrity. A lot of people don't have integrity.
No, she's having a podcast.
A lot of people don't have integrity. If you don't know what that is what you do when ain't nobody looking. Do you have integrity? Some people would say they do, but then you have to wonder or watch them when ain't nobody looking. That's a person that lacks integrity. You definitely gonna have to have that, because integrity leads to you having trust with somebody. Can I trust you when ain't nobody looking? Can I trust you when I'm not around to have my back? When perhaps somebody might decide they gonna have a free for all and talk about me. And those are just a few things that would make up qualities of a good woman. You got a woman that's willing to work on herself and make sure her mental, emotional stability is intact. You got a woman that's willing to start becoming what it is that she want to attract. You got a woman that's willing to set goals for herself and attack them. She not just sitting up waiting on no man to come take care of her or do for her. You got a woman that's not out here screaming, I don't need a man. Imagine what that's doing to the amount of people who you would actually be attracting if you wasn't saying that. Did you ever think that because you keep saying I don't need a man, that's why none of them will come near you? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Because I don't care what I've been through in life in reference to relationships. I don't think that I've ever said I don't need a man. I don't think I've ever said that I don't need a man. I understand what a man brings to the table to balance out a woman. I understand it. And so for me, I would never get to a place where I'm like, I don't need no man. Yes, I do. I need a man. Yes, I do. I need a man to relieve some pressure. I need a man to help me take care of my business and vice versa. I need a man for companionship. Yes, I do. I need a man. I need a man to start doing some of the stuff that I be walking around here doing. Bob the Builder, putting stuff together, taking stuff apart. And perhaps I've only experienced that once in my life where I had a real man that did all of those things, even things that I hadn't even said nothing to him about doing. And so because I have experienced that once in my life, I believe that it's possible for you to find a good man or a good woman, man. But you gonna first have to become them. It's a shortage. It's a shortage out here. I'm sure the numbers are greater now. We didn't probably went from 10 women to one man, and we probably about 15, 20 women to 3 men. Now it didn't double. It didn't double. So again, you learn things. I'm learning a lot for sure. Okay, we gonna wrap this on up though. Hey man, I think this was a wonderful conversation. I wish more people would have chimed in so I could hear more perspectives, both from men and women. But overall, I think this was a wonderful conversation because I hear so many people screaming, I'm a good man, or I'm a good woman, or I'm looking for a good man, or I'm looking for a good woman. Can we just start focusing on becoming a good woman and a good man? And so the universe will grant us exactly what it is that we need and deserve, instead of us hoping on a prayer that that's what we gonna get. And we know that perhaps we don't deserve that because we didn't even try to work on ourselves to become what it is that we want to attract. I love y'all, man. I appreciate y'all every single Tuesday and Friday. We back at it. Tuesday, 11 a.m. Tune in, man. Never know what we're going to be talking about. I got a couple of topics that I want to go ahead and scratch off my list. So we're going to try to run through them in the month of December, which also happens to be my birthday month. Let's do it, man. I enjoy the dialogue, the back and forth, the different perspectives and opinions. I appreciate it because now I don't have to feel like I'm the only person that thinks certain ways or feels certain ways. So that makes me feel good about myself. Again, it's Friday. Be careful. It's still considered the holiday weekend. It's trying to snow. It's extremely cold outside, so stay warm. Um, don't overdose on too much of that holiday food, okay? If you do, eat some for me, okay? I will see y'all back here on Tuesday at 11 a.m. I love y'all. Be safe. Make sure y'all do something for yourself. Hey, today was Black Friday. If you got out and got a chance to do something, that was dope. Check out the different things that's going on in your city as far as the Black Friday weekend. Do something for yourself, do something for somebody else. Okay, I love y'all, and I will see y'all on Tuesday. Peace.